Hi, everyone. This is Lauren Masters, the Special Events Director for the National Veteran Small Business Coalition, more commonly known as NVSBC. For those of you who are new to us, NVSBC is a national nonprofit organization working to empower veteran-owned and small businesses for success in the federal contracting ecosystem. We accomplish this through training, engagement opportunities, and advocacy efforts at the highest levels of government. Today, we're joined by former U.S. Navy captain, entrepreneur, and recently published author Jenn Donahue, joining us to talk about the impact of leadership and growth. Jenn will also be joining us in New Orleans for our upcoming VETS26 conference to provide a special presentation to our members, as well as a separate masterclass during the conference. Jenn, so glad to have you with us today. And before we dive into our conversation, why don't you just share a little bit of your background with our audience?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be fun. I am an engineer. I got my degree in engineering from Texas A&M, and I wanted to see the world. So what I did is I joined the United States Navy, and I was with them both active and reserve for 27 years. During that time, I was able to go back to school, and I got my PhD in engineering and became an engineering seismologist. So I chase earthquakes, and I started my own business. But now I've decided that I'm going to be a speaker because I want to give back. I want to help others just be just that much better. And if they can learn from my mistakes and also some of the things that I figured out, I think that's what I'd like to do.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Jenn. And as you know, we're so excited to have you participating in our conference. Each year, NVSBC has thousands of owners and leaders of small to medium-sized businesses attend our National Vets Conference and regional engagement events in search of ways to grow their companies. While our events provide tremendous business training opportunities and even direct introduction to potential teaming partners, successful long-term growth is often determined by something deeper, the quality of leadership guiding the organization. So, Jenn, as you've led in the military, in business, and now as an international speaker and consultant, I'm curious, have you found that there have been any leadership principles that are common in all of these very diverse and different environments?
I have. And really, what it comes down to is how much the leader cares about their people. In the military, you have all types. Some of them are they just want to make that next rank. They want to get to that next position. But I found that in the military, it's those who really care about their team and really foster their team and train their team. Those are the ones that excel. And it's the same thing in business. Everybody's just trying to grow their business and get that next contract and whatever that might be. But it's the ones who are developing their teams beneath them. Those are the ones that are growing. Those are the ones that have outstanding teams that are so much more effective and efficient. That's really what it's all about. Is if you take the emphasis off yourself and you put it all on your team, it's amazing really what you can do. And that's what I found is those who really care and foster their teams.
Awesome. And as you've noted, leadership is important in business growth, but a lot of times small business owners, they can be great operators, but that struggle comes when they're being leaders as the company grows. So in order to foster that collaboration and growth, what mindset shift have you seen that needs to happen from doing the work to leading the organization so that they can be successful business owners and leaders?
Oh, I get to see this all the time. It's so much more fun to actually do the tasks because you know how to do it. Like you've been doing it for years. And then all of a sudden you get put in a leadership position and you want to go back and you want to do those small little tasks and things like that. It's really a mind shift of realizing that, hey, you know what? You've trained the right person to do that task for you. And what you have is a much bigger task. It's a very different task. It's more complex. And so you have to have that mindset of like, hey, I'm going after something bigger. And it includes all of those small little tasks in it. And boy, it's so hard sometimes. You just want to jump in and you want to do that task, or you want to manage the person doing that task. That's called micromanaging. And that's something that a lot of small business owners are doing is that they want to do that task. But if you have the mindset of like, I'm going to be the taskmaster of all the tasks, that's really where it needs to be. You need to pull back and think of the tasks as as building into something bigger, more complex. And that's what you have to do.
It is a true mindset shift that you have to take from doing to leading. So thank you for sharing your experience there. I can see where companies begin to mature and develop their own distinct cultures based on how the organization is led and by those leaders. Every employee would understand that from a personal experience, but dynamic has an equally significant impact on those outside the company. So, like potential teaming relationships and strategic partnerships, which are so critical in government contracting, what leadership qualities help organizations become trusted partners that others want to work with repeatedly?
I think it comes down to communication. The ones that I've seen that are really able to succeed and they get those repeated customers, they get the ones that are coming to them. They're the ones that are communicating and they're transparent. And I had a talk earlier today and somebody asked like, "Hey, what do I do about this?" And I say, "Hey, you know what? Just go ask them out for a cup of coffee. Just go have a cup of coffee. Understand who that is on the other side and get to know that person and continually communicate with them, keep them up to date. And if something goes bad, hopefully you've built up that trust, over all of these small little sessions of talking that you can go to them and have that conversation. Because earlier you can have that, then you can start to solve the problem together. But I see so often that people they just want to hold information. They want to guard it like it's just their own and they have their own little silo and they don't want to let other people in. But if you're able to communicate, do it often and transparently, those are people who are wanting to basically people are wanting to hire them over and over again because that one simple little trait.
That's so true. I mean, communication is so important internally and externally, in all facets of business and our personal lives as well. And it seems so simple, but it's so important. And taking a more internal view of the company, that concept of trust, like you were mentioning, is also critical to a leader's ability to delegate effectively, as you were speaking about earlier, too. So I know many founders struggle with delegation because they feel no one can do the work as well as they can. How should leaders approach delegation in a way that actually strengthens the business?
It's again realizing that hey, you might have somebody who can do it as well or similar. You know what you have to do is if you need to go and personally train that person. Tell them everything that you know. And then it's a leap of faith and you just have to like step back. Because what you have to realize on the other side of that is that person is probably excited to do the job and they want to show you that they can do the job as opposed to you just trying to step in and do it for them. And I ran into that in my own life where I would get stressed out and think that hey, nobody can do this job. I'm the only one that can do it in this time frame to these exacting measures. And you know what? My team actually came back and said, "You don't trust us." And it was like, oh my gosh, you're right. But if you realize that, the people are trained or they have all the information, they have the resources, they're going to want to do that for you. So put that in the forefront of your mind when you want to just jump in and do it. You might even just ask them like, "Hey, are you cool? Like, you got this, if you feel like you need to." And then just have faith. Have faith that you've done everything that you can to train that person to do the job for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that delegation, it can help create momentum for growth as well. So, that raises an important question about why some companies continue scaling while others may stall. So, in your experience, what separates organizations that plateau from those that continue to see growth year after year?
A lot of those companies that are stalling, they're just sitting back on their laurels. They're like, "Yeah, we did this great once and we're just going to keep doing it the same way." But the companies that are growing, they're the ones that are debriefing at the end of each project or milestone. They're thinking about what did we do? What could we do better? And, how can we improve? And so if you're looking at all of those things, if you're looking at, hey, we did this really well, you'd be like, okay, let's document that. And you think about like, hey, what did not go well? Okay, so then you start to peel it apart. You start to figure out, well, how did we fix it? Because that's also important as well. And then you get to the how do you do better? This is where the real improvement starts. We do this in the military all the time. After every convoy, every project, every milestone, we do this so that we have continual improvement. But I see in businesses, a lot of times they don't go through this super easy little process. Just you know, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? How can we do it better? Because guess what? Your competitors are probably doing that, and that's why they're growing. And it doesn't have to be a big to do. Just go in and have coffee. Go like buy pizzas for everybody and just sit down for half an hour and strategize and think about how can we be more effective? How can we be more efficient? When you get that next project, then you're ready to go. You're going to be able to do it faster. You're going to be able to do it better. And that's how you start to grow.
Yeah, it can be so tempting to just, move on after a project, but it's really
Oh,
important to
yeah.
take that time to reflect and understand exactly what went well, what could we have done better, because it's not going to be easier to reflect than it is right afterwards, not when you're starting that new project. So take that time immediately after. Yeah.
And that new project is like, ooh, it's cool, it's shiny, let's go do this. And you just don't take, that little bit of thing, that little bit of time. It's like you want to go from project to project to project. It doesn't hurt to just take that short amount of time to try to grow in the future, try to be better.
Yeah, take that time to reflect and time for feedback. It's so important. Definitely. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing all that, Jen. As we wrap up, I'd love to pull all these experiences together into one practical takeaway for our listeners. So, looking back across your experience from the military, your entrepreneurial career, and leadership, what is one principle or habit that you believe every leader should adopt immediately?
I think everybody should just learn how to trust a little bit more. And it's going to be hard, but I have a mentor and he says, you know what? You have to start somewhere. That's where you go. You just start with something small, some tiny little step, and just try trusting a little bit more.
Yeah. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you got to start small, and before you know it, you'll be all the way there.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jen. This was so helpful and inspiring for our audience as well. I appreciate you sharing your insights today, and we'll look forward to seeing you in person at VETS26 for more of a deep dive. So if you'd like to hear more from Jenn Donahue, we'll hope you'll join us in New Orleans for VETS26. We'll also post some information about her website and recent book. Congratulations on
Thank
being
you.
a newly published author. So thank you again for joining us today, and I invite all of our listeners to visit our website for additional resources, free online training, and our calendar events. You'll find those all at nvsbc.org. So thank you so much, Jen, and we look forward to seeing you soon in New Orleans.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.